Lori, did you know that Disney Springs in Lake Buena Vista, Florida covers 120 acres? It's a lot of acres. It's even more than its neighbor, the Magic Kingdom, which covers only 107 acres.
That's a big mall.
It's a really big outdoor mall.
That's a really big mall. I think people underestimate it when they go to Disney World for the first time. It's got more than 150 shops, nearly 70 restaurants, and then plus a ton of other experiential options.
Lori,
theaters, yes.
Do they have a bowling alley there?
They do. They have a bowling alley. Yes, they do. It's Splitsville.
That sounds like a martini.
I think they serve martinis.
Okay.
So they got a theater. They got Cirque du Soleil. It's big. Most people don't realize when they get there, you could spend multiple vacation days there, which is cool because it doesn't cost anything to get into Disney Springs aside from all the money you will probably spend once you get there.
Also, it takes a minute to get through security sometimes.
It does. There is security.
It costs you a little time.
Yes, exactly. You are just as safe as in the Disney Springs bubble as you are in the parks. Let's say you only have a little bit of time, maybe an evening to go to Disney Springs. How do you narrow down what to do there? It's giant. So that's what we're here to talk about today. We are going to give you our top 5 things to do at Disney Springs. And if you stick around to the end, we're even going to give you a bonus seasonal option.
A bonus thing? So it's actually 6.
Yeah. We're the first podcasters to do this.
This is really marketing genius.
It is.
Hats off to you.
I mean, maybe people will stick around to the end.
Number 5, the Coca-Cola Store. Let's talk about the Coca-Cola Store because it's a store, but it's also like an attraction. There are 3 levels of gift shop, basically, and each level does a different thing. One of the things is a meet and greet with the bears.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have names?
Just the Coca-Cola polar bear.
He's a joker, right? Like he gets up to antics.
Does he?
I think he does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends who's wearing the suit that day. Maybe one's a little sassy.
I think there's a sassy one.
Yeah. Oh, did we get the drunk Coca-Cola bear today? No.
Certainly not
getting
drunk
fresh
from the Coca-Cola Store bar. And we'll get to that in a minute.
Nope, that's true.
The building itself is half the fun. It's modeled after a 1920s Coca-Cola bottling plant, and it has this winding ramp that goes around the perimeter of the building.
Yeah, it sounds silly, but I remember doing it with a kiddo, and that makes it memorable because it's all glass walls, and so you're looking out on Disney Springs, but you're running around a building. It's not the most efficient way to get up 3 floors, but it's just kind of fun.
There are other ways.
Yeah.
There's an elevator, for example.
And kids love running up and down ramps. And
they really do. There is one part that I find particularly unsettling.
Yeah.
And there's a length of hallway where the decoration on the wall is broken bottles, so it's 100 meters of broken glass.
And I think it's just wallpaper, but it looks like broken glass. Yeah.
Wait, what are you saying? That it's not actually broken glass?
Yeah, I'm saying you can't actually cut yourself on
it, but
it's
just a
an
depiction
unsettling
of broken
image.
glass.
But getting to the top is worth it. The rooftop of the Coca-Cola Store is half the fun because you get amazing views of Disney Springs up there. And it's a bar, but it does not serve alcohol. It used to serve alcohol up until 2022, and then they went no alcohol. I could not uncover a scandal that led them to remove the alcohol. Maybe just too many drunk people on top of a building. Hard to say. They still have a lot of really interesting drinks, and it's more family friendly now for sure. So of course they have all sorts of soda drinks and soda concoctions because it's the Coca-Cola Store. They also own a coffee brand though, so they got lots of fun coffee drinks as well. They also own milk now too.
Like olive milk?
Fairlife. No, they own Fairlife.
Okay.
They got coffee drinks, and everyone loves coffee. If you can't have alcohol, you might as well have coffee. They have, as you might imagine, those freestyle machines where you can do all the drinks. I thought it was funny. I was reading on the website. It's sample up to 5 refills within an hour of initial purchase.
Right.
Or blend any of the 100 self-serve choices to create new flavors. So it's like encouraging binge soda drinking. You can have 5 drinks within an hour. That's a lot of sodas in an hour.
What's that average out to? That's soda every 20 minutes?
No, an hour has 60 minutes, so 12 minutes.
I'm so bad at math.
That's all right. You're trying to convert over to the metric system. I get it.
No, I'm just bad at math, but thank you. They also do mocktails now that they don't have alcohol. And some of them are interesting. One's called the Watermelon Blast, and that's got royal watermelon, which is, I don't know.
I think it's a soda
flavored
flavor.
Oh, it's a soda?
Well, yeah, because remember, no alcohol.
Of course. Trix cereal and ice cream and whipped cream. Okay, so it's like an adult shake. Cool. And then there's the Fresca habanero lime, which is Fresca, habanero lime syrup, and Takis. Takis rolled tortilla chips. They've got tahini on the rim, which, okay.
Yeah.
I want to know more about the Takis chips in there.
Are they putting Takis in the drink?
Okay, so this is taken directly from the menu, I assume.
Yeah.
And it says, so you get the lime syrup and then Takis rolled tortilla chips with a tahini rim. I'm not even saying that they would put chips on the side. I'm just saying they'd probably put it last. Or at least I would.
Have you had the Fresca habanero lime? Let us know in the comments. Where are they sticking these Takis?
Tell me what else you can do up there when you're on the top of the world.
Yeah, crowd pleaser option. I've seen a lot of these being made while I'm there. Would be the Taste of the World tray, which is a sample of 14 different sodas from around the world. So it's like going into Epcot and going to, what's it called? Club Cool. We did the Taste of the World at a time when our kiddo didn't get much in the way of sweet beverages. So she was like friggin' psyched for it. Was like, oh my God, I'm getting a tray of sodas. She was not a fan of these sodas. They were like the weird ones from around the world. I think she was just hoping it was going to be like 14 tiny colas.
There's a Beverly in there, I think.
Yeah, there is a Beverly in there, yeah. They also do, probably more of a crowd pleaser that we should have gone with, was the float tray. That's 8 domestic flavors of soda with ice cream in it.
That was a choice, Lori.
Yeah.
They could have gone with Float Flight, which would have been more fun and alliteration.
Yeah.
But they chose Float Tray. Give me 15 minutes and a pencil and a pad, and I'll rebrand this whole thing.
Okay.
It's going to be mostly puns.
Yep. I'm here for it. They also have a combo tray. So if you can't choose between the Around the World and the float tray, you get a combo tray.
Should we move on?
Oh, let's
Do you
go
have
on
more
to number
things
4.
to say about the Coca-Cola store?
No, I
the
mean,
view is incredible. If you're a picture taker or a video taker, like, that is a really great, that's a really great angle right there.
Yeah, my guess is that they actually created too pretty and comfortable of an environment. They were probably getting a lot of all-day drinkers up there because it really is, if I were going to recommend a bar to go to, I would have been like, go drink on top of the Coca-Cola store. It's gorgeous. So maybe they just weren't getting the turnover they needed because it was a popular spot.
Can we talk gifts for a sec?
Sure.
I'm guilty of indulging in Coca-Cola gift items.
Oh, sure.
I'm definitely not like Coca-Cola spirit jersey kind of person.
Right. We're generally not even soda drinkers,
No.
really. I grew up in the 80s. My best friend collected just Coca-Cola gear. I feel like maybe the Coca-Cola Bears came up around that time, too.
And that, very cute.
That made them a more popular merchandise stop. But also, the Coca-Cola store to this day has an entire floor of apparel, and it keeps pace with current fashion trends.
There is cheesy
There's plenty
stuff,
of cheesy
but you
stuff,
can also get
Yeah.
a perfectly cute hoodie there.
It's 3 levels of gift shop. All the categories you can find in Coca-Cola flavor.
Their lip balm game is
Yeah.
strong.
Oh yeah, we got like all the soda flavors in lip
Fanta,
balm.
one of my favorites.
Yeah, and walking through the store reminds you of how many different brands Coca-Cola owns because you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, we love those enormous conglomerate multinational corporations. They're my fave.
Yeah,
Like,
they do good things.
like Disney.
Moving on to not a giant conglomerate, our number 4.
Erin McKenna's Bakery, which, is that what it's called? Erin McKenna's Bakery?
It is, yeah.
Okay. Is a pastry shop there in Disney Springs that does allergen-free pastries. They don't lead with that, I don't think.
No, I don't
Nor
think
should they. I think that they're good, really good on their own, but for people with allergies like me, I have celiac, I have to avoid dairy among some other things. They are gluten-free, they are vegan, which means they're dairy-free. So we go there pretty much every time because there aren't that many places in my life that I can just pop on over and get a treat.
Erin McKenna is in Disney Springs. There's also one in LA. It's funny because the sign even says Erin McKenna's Bakery NYC, but they don't have any NYC locations anymore. That was where Erin McKenna's Bakery and Baby Cakes came up. I don't know the story of why they're no longer in NYC. That's pretty recent, though. There are a ton of different bakeries and dessert places in Disney Springs, so depending on what your group's into, do your thing. You can find
Gideon's.
sweets.
Yeah, that's a favorite.
Yeah, the big
There's
spectacles.
A line, but
always.
they say it's worth it.
Yeah, but either way, if you've got anyone in your party with allergens, just know that you have like an amazing dessert option. We have a lot of favorites, like the pineapple upside down cake. That's a big favorite. And they've got all the cool looking cupcakes. You know, sometimes you just want the like vacation looking like, ooh, you know, they got like the Cookie Monster looking cupcakes.
Right. Savory stuff?
Their menu rotates, so not always, but they have veggie bombs, which are like this really dense scone full of like different veggies and things like that. Those are super yummy. Their donuts are really good. Yeah.
Yeah, the donuts are a whole other thing. It's donut shaped, but more of a like moist cake.
Yeah, they're not the fried like airy donuts, but they're yummy.
They're good. It's just don't go in there comparing Erin McKenna's to Krispy Kreme, because it's just not the same thing.
I think they're like pineapple upside down cake and cupcakes and stuff like that stand up to. Normally I tell people like, yeah, get the gluten-free stuff, but like it's its own thing. Don't compare it to other desserts, but I think Erin McKenna's can pick a fight with other dessert places.
You think that it shouldn't be recognized first and foremost as being allergen-free? It should be recognized as being a yummy bakery?
I think so, and I think that's what they're going for. They don't heavily brand the gluten-freeness. Like, you gotta know, you gotta look.
Be an insider. Walk in there and be like, yo, I was listening to the Disney Rabbit Hole podcast and they told me y'all were gluten-free. And they'll be like, it's true.
Yeah. Moving on to number 3.
Number 3 is Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar. And I guess I'm not a huge proponent of hanging out in a bar all day, but it's a pretty cool spot to visit, namely because it has all of this really interesting bric-a-brac. I don't know what that means. What does bric-a-brac mean?
Stuff. Things.
All over the walls.
Yeah.
Just packed to the gills with Easter eggs from the Indiana Jones films. Because who is Jock Lindsay after all?
I think you should tell us, because there is a full backstory about this.
Here's the backstory of Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar. Ready? Fans of Raiders of the Lost Ark can't forget Indy's easygoing pilot Jock Lindsay, owner of a pet snake named Reggie. But how did Jock arrive here? The two globetrotters stumbled on Disney Springs in 1938 while chasing down a mythology-based tip in central Florida. Attracted to the town's natural springs and lush terrain, Jock bought some waterfront property and eventually settled down, piloting seaplane tours across the fast-growing Sunshine State. Jock eventually built an airplane hangar, air tower, and runway, and invited fellow members of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers to pay him a visit. His home base soon became a popular stopover and watering hole for world travelers and locals alike. Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar was born.
And that's why it's on the list. Because it feels more like a Disney attraction than it does just like a restaurant and bar. There are a million restaurants and bars in Disney Springs, which is cool. Go to what you have a taste for, but if you want something that has theming and this kind of like immersion and like a story, this to me actually feels like a restaurant and bar that should be inside the park because of the level of detail.
I think that the recurring theme in the Disney Rabbit Hole podcast, if you've got to pick one so far, and we're only on episode 5, but I would pick theming. We generally focus on stuff that really goes into detail and cares about the details, and Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar is definitely one of those places. Another theme, I think, of our podcast is multi-phased experiences. So the theming doesn't just happen once and then it's over. It's something that can be experienced again and again. And even the first time it's experienced, there are like different parts of it. And it's why Jock Lindsay's sort of is like an attraction, because it depends on where you end up sitting down.
Absolutely. There's so much. So there's both the theming as a building and the decor, but then also the menu and the drinks are like another element of it. So yeah, definitely it can support new discoveries.
For sure.
Yeah.
You want to hit me with some Easter eggs?
I do.
Because there's like a ton of them.
There's a ton, and this is not an exhaustive list whatsoever. But one of the main ones I'd say, or the ones that most people might recognize, would be in the back left corner of the Hangar bar. If you look up, you will see the fertility idol.
Like the quote-unquote idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, the one where in the opening scene he's like trying to steal it and he like puts the bag of sand and then like he didn't quite get it right and then the big ball chases him. So yeah, that idol is just up on a shelf. I guess the suggestion is that like Jock just, I don't know, Indy's a pal and he just got a bunch of Indy's souvenirs here and there. Shouldn't that be in a museum?
Oh, good one. You're referencing the film, eh?
Yeah.
That belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
I got to work on the Indy. That belongs in a museum. I'm getting there. If you're sitting in the bar area, you might notice a few dolls that resemble some iconic characters. There are voodoo dolls of Indy, Willie, and Short Round from Temple of Doom. And then there's also the feathered pen that's used to jab him by the...
Yeah.
He's the prince, or he's the one that said, I heard.
Yeah, the Maharaja or
Yes.
something like that. Also, if you're sitting in the bar area, you'll see hanging above the bar, there's a giant world map. The lines on it are notable. They signify all the places that Indiana Jones adventured in the movies. You know how you always see the like little flying line when he's like traveling from country to country? Those are on the world map.
Fans of the Disneyland attraction Temple of the Forbidden Eye might recognize the highlighted icon on the map. This temple was dedicated to the goddess Mara, who, of course, curses anyone who looks her directly in the eye. And to avoid being cursed, Jock creased the map there on purpose to avoid her gaze. Kind of a Medusa-esque type of situation.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, going all the way back, society has been afraid of women.
Yeah, absolutely. We're terrifying. If you head back toward the restrooms, you'll see a lost and found locker, and if you look at the bottom left of the locker, you'll see a jewelry box with an iconic piece from later Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's the medallion that Marion inherited from her father, which is ultimately used to show Indy where the Ark of the Covenant's buried. It also gets burned into a Nazi's hand. Nazis!
Yeah, it's cool that in the Indy films we got to see like ancient history, like this terrible past existed.
Never gonna happen
and we
again.
learned lessons.
We learned lessons.
Thank goodness that could never happen.
Yeah, we
again.
brought them back in pop culture just to make sure everyone gets those lessons and understands what evil looks like, so that we know to defy it when we see it again.
Part of the Hangar bar seating that's outdoors is actually on Jock Lindsay's boat. You can sit like right in his boat. And the boat has a name, Reggie. It's Jock Lindsay's pet snake, whom we first meet in Raiders when Indy is at the beginning of the film, when he jumps into the river and swims to the plane and climbs up in the second seat. That's Jock Lindsay. And the snake, right? That's Reggie.
There's a snake in the plane. Yeah.
Snakes.
That's my Indy.
Why'd it have to be snakes?
Here's the thing. You're doing like an impression of someone doing an impression of him in the ride, and your impression sounds like the person doing the impression.
But not like Indiana Jones.
Correct. That's the building. Those are our favorite Easter eggs. Have you been to Jock Lindsay's? Do you have favorite Easter eggs in there? Let us know in the comments. Overall, the menu is standard bar fare, but with flourishes. Some ingredients in there to make the kids hate it.
Because, like, even the mocktails are going to have stuff in it that the kids are going to be like, ooh. So you got to be like a nuisance and say to the bartender, like, look, I hope you have kids. So I hope you understand the request. Can you just make me a club soda or a Sprite and then put like a shitload of cherries and 4 straws or something in there? And assuming that you have somebody that understands parent problems, then they might hook you up. But otherwise, probably don't go to this place. Or do. If you're two parents and one parent wants to take the kids and distract them while the other parent just gets some much needed alone time, right outside Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar is this performance area that's not always occupied by a performer. In fact, there's a lot of seating. It's not particularly comfortable, but it is often open even when Disney Springs is busy. And toddle your toddler around there while your partner gets the drunk that they deserve.
Shall we talk about the menu a bit too?
Nah.
Okay.
No. Okay, let's do it.
All right. It's bar fare, but with the twist that makes it feel fancy and special. Most of the menu items your kids might hate if they're picky because there's lots of extra like toppings and flourishes.
It's like there's chicken tenders maybe, but they're spicy or have ginger.
Maybe you can customize something on the little bites menu to suit a picky child. Some examples, there's the Air Pirates cargo loaded pretzel.
Air Pirate, that sounds like what you would call a fart.
Air Pirate on the menu twice. There's also the Air Pirates mule.
Who blasted an Air Pirate in here? What did you eat? Did you eat Club Obi-Wan wings again?
Yeah, I did, and they were crispy honey pineapple wings with pineapple salsa. Exactly. See, kids don't want pineapple salsa on their things. Maybe the adults do. That cargo-loaded pretzel, you're like, oh, there's a pretzel. It has prosciutto, sliced brats, salami, smoked cheddar.
Spicy mustard and beer cheese fondue. That's not...
Yeah.
Most kids are not like, beer cheese fondue.
But you could probably just be like, can I just get the goddamn pretzel? They'll give you a pretzel.
Or you could get the Mine Car meatballs, which are pork and beef meatballs with sweet and sour barbecue sauce, chimichurri on potato. Hey! What is potato?
Potato hay. I mean, hash browns, I guess?
I guess so.
Yeah.
You can sub in Impossible meatballs, which I appreciate. I definitely sub in Impossible meatballs. I like Impossible meat. And it makes me think of the minecart scene from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Like a mine car?
Yeah, it's evocative of movement.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's also a non-alcoholic Air Pirates mule.
Which I'm guessing is supposed to be like a non-alcoholic Moscow mule, but it's the Air
Do you think
Pirate.
it comes in a copper?
Oh, probably. Yeah.
If you're with your mule friend who smuggles drugs across the border and they blast an Air Pirate while you're sitting inside of Reggie, then the Air Pirate's mule is probably an appropriate drink for y'all's party. You can also get Shorty's Singapore Sling, which sounds racist.
It does.
Which I think it is. That's Plymouth Gin, Hearing Cherry Liqueur, Benedictine, Cointreau, fresh lime juice, pineapple juice, and grenadine. That sounds pretty good.
It does.
I didn't ever say what the ingredients of the Air Pirate Mule was. It's Knob Creek Disney Select Single Barrel Reserve Bourbon.
Wait, does that mean that Disney has like its own Knob Creek bourbon?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Weird.
Disney Select Lime Juice, Disney Extracted Lime Juice, and Fever Tree Ginger Beer, which is yummy on its own. So altogether, that actually sounds really good. To me. Does that sound good to you?
It does sound good to me. I love a good mocktail.
What you could do is you order that and you sneak a flask in and put some booze in there, right?
Yeah. Or you could just order it with booze.
Oh, that's a good point.
You should take the flask to the top of the Coca-Cola store
Boom.
and pour the booze in those, because there you can't order it. There you go. That's where you need to sneak in the booze.
I'm going to give that 5 big booms.
Okay. Are we done talking about Jock Lindsay's?
Let's stop talking about Jock Lindsay's, because almost without a doubt that's going to be the longest part of the podcast.
Yeah. We just read you its
It's
entire
fair, though,
menu.
because if you're going to spend a long time somewhere that's cool with themes and stuff, you could do a lot worse than Jock Lindsay. What did they used to call it? Did they used to call it? Was it always Disney Springs? No, there was something before Disney Springs.
It was just downtown Disney,
Right?
but Pleasure Island
Yeah,
was part of it.
Yeah, and you could go and get like a hooker.
Yeah.
And there was like a red light district,
Disney
and you could
hooker,
buy
but
weed.
yeah. Moving on to number 2, the waterfront attractions. We didn't want to pick just one here. This is our way of talking about all the fun stuff too, because Disney Springs is built on a lake. Specifically, this one is called Village Lake.
Village Lake.
Yeah.
Everybody I know just calls it Lake Buena Vista.
Yeah, because it's in Lake Buena Vista.
But there is an actual Lake Buena Vista
There is?
that's not this lake.
No, this
because
is
this
Village
is
Lake.
Village Lake.
This is Village Lake.
It's like the Village People, but a lake.
That's correct.
Follow me for more tips.
One of those waterfront attractions would be the aerofoil balloon.
I love the pedophile balloon.
Yeah, the pedophile balloon's good. It's probably, you're going to notice it before you even probably park at Disney Springs, because it's one of those.
The icon of
It
Disney
is.
Springs.
Yeah, and it's one of those, it's on a rope, so it's not actually floating off anywhere, but it goes up 400 feet.
The icon of Disney Springs used to be the water tower, the wooden water tower.
Mm-hmm.
But then when the aerofoil balloon started making daily flights, it shifted to that.
Yeah.
Do you think that was an official decision? The water tower's gone. That was part of the renovation.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember what part of downtown Disney, if it was the like red light district part or just the regular family friendly part.
That aerofoil balloon was custom built for Disney by Paris-based company Aerofoil SA.
It feels so Parisian. It feels very around the world in 80 days.
It is very
Jules
Parisian.
Verne, for sure.
It is officially Parisian. The Aero 30 is filled with 210 cubic feet of helium. It's a helium balloon. Goes up to
210,000.
what did I say?
I think you might have just said 210.
Oh, 210,000. That's an important number.
Don't forget that, because there's going to be a quiz.
There will be a quiz. The balloon basket holds 29 people plus one aerofoil certified pilot. Yeah, don't let him near your kids.
What do you think that means? Just certified to know when it's too windy and like how to operate the motor that brings the balloon up and down?
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm glad that it's certified by the Aerofoil Corporation or Board of Directors. It's probably a think tank.
Each flight, stunning panoramic views. Up to 10 miles away on clear days, everybody.
I feel like if you're at the top of the Empire State Building on a clear day, you can see a shitload farther away than 10 miles.
I went to a place in Georgia where I could see 7 states at once.
What is that in metric?
That's 18 states.
Yeah.
The aerofoil balloon, $29.99 plus tax for adults, $24.99 for kids.
That's nice that there's a discount for the littles.
Sure. I get
But you
Yeah, the kid pricing, I don't know. It's always seemed arbitrary to me. And that's for ages 3 to 9, so I don't even know if you can bring your babies up. If you can bring your babies up, are they free? I guess they're just free.
They're certainly free to blow in the breeze. Mm-hmm. The aerofoil balloon does not go up if it's windy. Or
Which
if
means
there's
it's often-
weather of any kind.
Which means it's often down. It's like the fireworks at Disney World. They will, for any reason, they're like, we're not doing fireworks tonight.
Maybe you have one vacation to Disney World that you ever are going to take in your life, and you're there on the night that the fireworks get canceled. And how disappointing that must be. I remember the first time that I went to Disney World when I was 13 years old, Space Mountain was closed.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the only thing that I cared about. I'd gotten fixated on it. Mm-hmm. And when I found out it was closed that day, I was like devastated.
Yeah. So they take those closure listings seriously, I think, for that reason.
It took so many years before I was able to ride Space Mountain.
I remember.
And not because I was scared, but because we kept going when that shit was closed.
Yeah, when we first moved to Southern California, the first time we could afford a ticket to Disneyland, it was closed for the big refurbishment.
These cocksuckers at Disney think they can do whatever the fuck they want, but my money is on Space Mountain. If I don't get Space Mountain, I'm probably not going to say anything. I'm probably just going to be really sad about it.
You'll move on in life, you'll become a Disney podcaster, give them hundreds of thousands of dollars of free marketing. That's how you're going to show them what you think of that.
Yeah, take that. Can we talk about amphicars?
I think we should.
The Boathouse Orlando is the only place in the world that offers the unforgettable and thrilling experience of a captain's guided tour in a vintage amphicar. These rare cars drive on land and enter the water with a splash, taking you on a captain-guided 20-minute tour of the landmarks of Disney Springs. Our fleet of amphicars were purchased from private collections worldwide. There were less than 4,000 of these unique amphibious vehicles produced during the 1960s, and less than 400 remain today.
I did not know that until I was pulling together the notes for this podcast. I've seen the amphicars. I think they lean into the captain guided because you can rent boats elsewhere in the Disney World resort and just tool around in them themselves. So maybe they're just really reminding you, like, no, you're not just driving around in an amphicar. There's a grown-up there who's
it's captain guided in the sense that a person who knows how to operate the amphicar is in the driver's seat.
I had no idea that amphicars were like that rare. I just figured they were built for this, but like someone actually went around the world finding these things and assembling a fleet of them.
I'm guessing it has to have something to do with a war. Do you know more about like where amphicars came from? Did the people who were the makers of amphicars think that they were going to be adopted by the general public or maybe by the lake-going public? I don't know. Was it always just a novelty item? And why was it around just in the 1960s and then that idea just disappeared? Because certainly the whimsy of an amphicar, the enjoyment of that remains, or else the Boathouse wouldn't be doing tours as often as they do.
It's true. And they're adorable.
They are really cute. According to the schedule on the Boathouse's website, you can book tours daily from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., weather permitting. And the price is $125 per car, which will accommodate 3 or 4 people.
That's not the only way to get on the water around Disney Springs. They also have water taxis. They are designed to take people from the nearby resorts: Old Key West Resort, Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa, Port Orleans Resort, both Riverside and French Quarter, over to Disney Springs. But nobody's carding you for a room key or anything like that if you want to hop on a water taxi and tool around. If you just want to get closer to the water, but you don't want to get on a boat, there's a really cool bridge that just cuts across the lake at Disney Springs. Mm-hmm. It's a really long bridge, just a walking bridge. I like it.
It can get windy. Mm-hmm. I like the water taxis a lot. For me, it's a really relaxing thing that you could do almost as an attraction itself. So let's say that you're at Disney World with your family and you're doing some self-care time. You could ride loops on those water taxis, and it really is pleasant.
I think the Port Orleans resorts are really cool. There's a lot of like fun stuff to do over there. It's a really pretty resort.
French Quarter's the little one though, right?
You don't have to walk all of your vacation walking just to get to your room.
True. God, that's such a big factor that doesn't get accounted. I still am guilty of that, by the way. I'll book a hotel and just forget to factor in how far I've got to walk to get to things. Because some of those resorts are gigantic. Caribbean Beach, remember when we stayed there?
Oh, that one's ridiculous.
It's too big. What's the name of the river that runs through the Port Orleans resorts?
Sassagoula.
Oh, that's a fun word to say.
It is.
Sassagoula.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sassagoula.
Ooh, that's like Star Wars.
Sassagoula. Our number one recommended thing to do at Disney Springs is the PhotoPass studio. And it's because so many people just don't know about it. It's not something that you would naturally walk past very often. Yet, it's such a great experience if you're paying for the, what's it called?
Memory Maker?
If you're paying for Memory Maker, then this is just included. It's not an additional cost. And essentially what it is, it's you get a one-on-one session with a cast member photographer in a studio environment. If you want to get the whole fam together and do some group shots that are in a little more of a controlled and forgivable environment, quieter environment, then this is a really great option.
We've done it with a big group of people.
Yeah.
We've done it just the two of us. Equally fun. They take a lot of time and care with you, even if there's a line. You get your quality time.
Yeah, you get your time.
You get all the fun little embellishments and props and silliness. If you don't have the Memory Maker, you can buy it right there while you're in line if you happen to be at Disney Springs and you're like, we would like a photo session. So it's essentially, I forget, Memory Maker for a day I want to say is $59.99. So you're spending $60 to get like high quality professional photographs with a Disney flair. And I want to say even Sears is going to charge you more than that these days.
I would agree that it's a really nice way to get with your family, your chosen family, your friends, your partner. There's very rarely a very long wait. I think the longest I've ever waited there was like maybe 10 or 15 minutes. There are multiple bays and each one is its own lit studio with props, and you'll get recommendations from the cast members on poses and magic shots, but also you're perfectly welcome to make recommendations to the photographer. And if you were to make a recommendation, what would your pose be? What are like the cheesy poses that you like to have?
I think the one that makes me giggle the most, like that you and I did, was the like back-to-back look at each other, like, because there's nothing natural about that pose at all. No one in the history of mankind has stood that way and looked at each other that way until a photographer was like, you know what'll be cute?
And you can do the super awkward face-to-face engagement shot or whatever. Or you could take it seriously. But I find that impossible to
Have some fun with it. That's the whole point. Clover, would you like to give the good people our bonus?
The bonus item is seasonal, and it is the Christmas tree stroll throughout Disney Springs. I think it was originally put together probably to get people around Disney Springs, very similar to the way that scavenger hunts are put together at the parks. Oh, what do we have here?
I have a map. I save things. I love the scavenger hunts of Disney. I have a lot of these from Epcot. We didn't even do the scavenger hunt, but I picked up the map in 2020. I think we were too masked and scared to actually spend too much time at Disney Springs. Yeah. It's very much like the Epcot ones where you get the map, and then when you find out which tree is at each location, there's like the themed sticker that you can put on it. You got a little Mickey and Minnie and a Lion King.
It's nice because it's free.
You'll pay $10 for the Epcot ones these days, and it's the exact same setup. You get the map, you get the stickers, you get, when you complete it, you get like a little gift. So it's understandable that they charge for that at Epcot, but not at Disney Springs. I guess they think you'll be spending enough money while you're like wandering around.
And I think they're probably right. In 2024, there were 21 trees, and when we did it back in 2021, there were 20 trees. There are always a few different stores in Disney Springs where you can pick up a tree mat to follow for the scavenger hunt.
Our past video in 2021 did a full tour of every single tree. You'll see most of the trees are themed after a movie or characters. Some of them are lame. There was a Disney Plus tree, which was just decorated with photos of movie posters and things like that. But other ones, like our favorites, most of them are mind-blowing, in my opinion. And some of them are just like next level. There's a Haunted Mansion tree that's just covered in all the icons of the Haunted Mansion. And it's just same with the Nightmare Before Christmas tree, which was our number one tree. Just so visually overwhelming. Some of these trees you could just spend an hour looking at all the individual ornaments and details.
There's so much detail in each ornament, and there's so many ornaments on each tree that I think that someday we could put on black lipstick and stand next to the Nightmare Before Christmas tree and kiss.
I think that's a good idea.
That's our list of favorites, but with literally hundreds of things to do at Disney Springs, you gotta have a favorite, right? So what are your favorite things to do?
If you like this video and you love it when people help you with your must-do list on a Disney vacation, check out our previous podcast where we did the top 10 best but lesser known things to do at Magic Kingdom. See you next time.